George, how did you get into the shirt making, which was originally your business? Like, how did that all start, or why did you start making shirts?
Well, Ted, as you know, we had the strong connections with the family, the Dwyer and Company business in Washington Street, and you know, our dad was there for a number of years, and I went and joined the family company, Dwyer's, in Washington Street. It was a very diverse company, very, very varied company.
And you ran the shirt company there.
I did. I went in
Purdick shirts.
I went in Purdick shirts. Yeah. The idea was that I'd go through a few different departments, get a bit of experience.
So when did you leave the business then?
Well, I suppose in 1972, I just found I was going nowhere really within the company. I had been 9 years there. I started in '63, so in '72 I'd been 9 years there, and I really felt the company wasn't going very far. It wasn't going anywhere, and I found I was getting more problems from the management up in the boardroom, who were my uncles and various cousins. Yeah. I was getting more problems from them than actually in dealing and running the company downstairs. So I just said, look, it looks like it'll be easier to go and start it.
You upped and started your own business?
I upped and started,
and
exactly.
You started Eurostyle effectively.
And that's where Eurostyle started, yeah.
It's kind of a different company now than what it was when
it's very different. I mean, the first day we started, I had kind of primed one or two of the machinists who I'd been working with. I said, look, I'm thinking of leaving, and will you come with me? I headhunted a few of them, so they came with me, and I talked to a few of the suppliers.
You actually brought in the cloth, or did you cut the cloth?
No, we brought in the cloth, and we used to cut the cloth ourselves, do the patterns. Sister Valerie used to do the patterns for me initially. As soon as the business built, we built up the number of staff that we had. But we were a production company making shirts. Okay. That really was what we were. So we made shirts and we made blouses. We made them for a variety of different customers. Some of the wholesalers in Dublin we made blouses for, and then we made shirts for a number of stores, even people like Pennies and Dunnes initially.
And why did you stop making shirts? I mean, there aren't any shirts made in Ireland for a long time.
No, they're not made, no, and obviously but I suppose I really regard myself as a manufacturer rather than as a marketing person or whatever. So my strength, I always thought, was manufacturing. The trouble with manufacturing is like a river really. It flows all the time and you have to keep it fed with various products and things. So it wasn't easy always to have enough orders to keep the factory busy. But we did manage to grow it, and by the time we moved up to the Curry's Rock premises, we had about 25 people in total, of whom 20 would have been machinists and about 5 other people.
A few cutters or whatever else.
Yeah, as I went along, I always went to visit some overseas fairs. I always found that was a great source of inspiration to go and visit fairs and see what the rest of the world were doing. So I tried to make it my business to go and do that, particularly once we'd been established for a few years. And one of the first things we did, I think, was the embroidery machines. I found an embroidery machine at a show in America called the Bobbin Exhibition, and said, wow, that really would make a difference to us. So bought the first machine and came back, and that enabled us to put crests and logos. It opened up kind of a new market for us.
So that was a new start into a different line of business.
Yeah,
and then obviously you stopped making shirts. I think you told a lovely story about going into Dunnes stores and finding a shirt made in Portugal.
Made in Portugal, yeah, and they were probably selling the shirt for something like $2.99 at the time. And when we went back and did all the sums, there was no way we could manufacture or buy the fabric and do it for that price. So I think that really opened our eyes to the idea that maybe we should no longer be just making everything, but that we should start importing things. But I think the next big thing really was Alan joined the company in '86. We were still in the Curry's Rock building at that stage.
You survived that event.
Yeah. I tried very hard with Alan to get him to go to university and go and do a degree or go and do something. That way too, was he? But he was quite stubborn. He said, no, I have no interest in any further learning once he finished school. He went and did a short course somewhere, but very soon came and joined me. I was delighted that he did. Then one of the next things that happened was really that Alan was he was kind of anxious to get into a retail shop. So we found a small shop in Emmett Place called the Golf Addict, so we decided that we'd open that as a little golf shop with golf souvenirs and golf clothing and golf bits and pieces. And as soon as we opened the door, we had some men's golf clothing in there, very, very little ladies' golf clothing. And as soon as we opened the door, we found lots of ladies coming in saying, have you any ladies' golf clothing? Lots of ladies were taking up golf at that stage, and there was really nowhere that they could turn to sort of golf clothing. So very quickly we started to make some for the golf shop ourselves, and
so that kind of came at you, so that
it really came at us. It did. But we started to make the golf clothing, and next thing we went to an exhibition in the UK, which was a golf exhibition, and we started to show the clothing there. And very soon we got some very substantial orders there. So that really was our first kind of breakthrough into golf wear. And within 2 years we had 25% of the ladies' golf market in the UK,
wow.
which was a major breakthrough for us, really. In the mid-80s, we had about 80 people here on sewing machines, making our clothing for us. They were great staff.
You had to let a lot of those go?
Not really. We let very few go over the years, because we managed to retrain quite a lot of people. Excellent. To go into the warehouse area and other areas, so we never let anybody go really at that stage. And we started to build up a network of agents in the UK. Valerie Rennie was the first one we had, and then we started to have some other agents, and all these agents were calling to the various golf shops, and that's how we were doing our business. So it was profitable, and it was fast growing business at the time.
How long have you since you stepped back?
Well, I stepped back, I think, in 2005 really, but before that we had moved into this new building here.
Yes. Which
was a big move for us. You know, we found one of the ladies' brand, and we established it ourselves as the Green Lamb brand, and that was the big one. I left in 2003, and the boys had to take on the mantle, and I think they've done it extremely well, but they've had to keep on changing. You know, they've had new products, they've got involved with Calvin Klein, so they've new markets, and so it never stops really. I think our business is one that has to keep on evolving.
Right, Alan, so I know we wanted to talk a little bit about the current situation in PGB, tell people the current structure of the business. There's a lot going on, make sure everyone knows what kind of structure we have in the business. So tell us a little bit about today's Eurostyle premium golf brands 45 years later.
Yeah, well, today I suppose Eurostyle has developed into a mixture of a number of different businesses. Split into premium golf brands, which is our wholesale golf business selling direct to pro shops and online golf accounts. Eurostyle Incentives, which is our business to business corporate gifts, and it's also workwear for restaurants and various
uniforms,
hotels and uniforms. Yeah. MissDesignerGolf.com, which is our online ladies golf store selling ladies clearance golf products.
Direct to consumer.
Yeah. We now have 2 retail stores under Fairway and Blue, with one in Port Benus and one in Kildare Village.
Yeah.
And we have 66 employees based in UK, Ireland, Spain and Portugal, and we're selling to around 22 countries, mainly around Europe.
Okay.
So we've a diverse business of a variety of different businesses within one, but all working together under one roof with one warehouse, customer service, management, all coordinated, running each business as a separate unit but under one roof.
Good, hopefully that gives people a feel for the business today as to how it stands and everything. Yeah. Just to talk about some of the more recent milestones in the business, say going back the last 15 years since George has left. I know lots has happened. Some of the key ones that stand out?
So I suppose one of the biggest milestones was the getting of the Calvin Klein global license.
Yeah, huge.
In which we got offered Calvin Klein Golf Worldwide, in which we were going to Europe and then sub-license the brand out around the rest of the world.
Yeah.
I suppose the other milestones were opening Fairway and Blue in 2014.
Our first
retail store. That was a very big undertaking, because we knew nothing about retail, even though we'd been selling there, so that took a while to get going, get operational, and lots of trips over and back to Spain.
Big learning curve.
And also in the same year then we started Miss Designer Golf, which is our first digital foray, and again that was a tough learning curve that took us a while, but a well worth milestone, because it set the base for our future.
Yeah, like when we hear George's story about all the evolution that the company had over the last 45 years, we're still at that really, because I think a small family business like ours in clothing wouldn't be around if we hadn't made all those changes and some of the initiatives we're taking in recent years, definitely.
Yeah. And the business definitely every few years seems to be going in a direction that's trying to make it more profitable and continue in a way that's good for the business going forward, rather than just sit on what we have and hope that it stays the way it is.
Last question really is to try and see where's the future with Eurostyle PGB. What's happening? What's in the pipeline? Anything interesting that we ought to tell people?
Yeah, there's a few things happening, and we're moving forward all the time. We seem to be continually looking for something new and different. So we've hired a sales manager, one of the top guys in the industry for PGB. It's our first time getting a on-the-ground sales manager in the UK, and we've great plans to grow that business. We think we're only touching the surface.
Brilliant.
There's great opportunity there, and we think Andrew will go a long way to help us.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so
That's very exciting.
yeah, I mean, on the Eurostyle incentive side, Ireland is back motoring again, and there's plenty of opportunity to sell to the bigger companies, and we could be doing a lot more on that side and a lot more online with that side as well. We're going to start a new brand called Aki, which is an outdoor brand aimed at lifestyle stroke fashion, and we think that's a good trend going forward, and it's a good opportunity for us. We can use the same manufacturers, same designers, so it allows us an opportunity to get into another field without a huge cost.
Yeah, broadens us out of golf a little bit.
And we think we'll grow the business in a slightly different direction there, but it'll all be complementary. Yeah. And then finally, I think one of the biggest areas of growth is going to be e-commerce, and we've set up a really good team there in terms of the way we're going to do things, how we're going to market, how we're going to promote our business going forward in terms of the e-commerce side of the business. Obviously, we've got a really strong wholesale business and retail business, but we think e-commerce is going to be a big complementary part of the overall.
Definitely.
And we want to be first in there as a wholesaler rather than last in there and leaving everyone else do it.
Yeah.
So I think in the bigger picture, we're going to continue the way we're going, but grow our e-commerce much stronger and maybe expand a little bit outside where we currently are.
Yeah.
But we see huge opportunity for growth and more employment from Cork, and more opportunities to sell to lots of countries around Europe and around the world.